Close enough. Today let's talk about flipping bikes. Now, flipping is when you buy something for pretty cheap or you get a good deal on something and then you later sell it for profit. And that's the essence of what flipping is. And I personally tried to do bike flipping when I was getting into fixed gear bikes, but I found that flipping bikes wasn't really for me. But I do have a friend, his name is Min. I probably mentioned him in a couple videos.
Hi, I'm Min. He mentioned me in a couple videos.
Who's really good at flipping bikes, and he's really good at doing business and has actually made a pretty good chunk of side money while flipping bikes. So hopefully after watching this video, you'll be able to tell whether you should get into flipping bikes and see if it's a worthwhile use of your time. With that, we're going to take a look at the pros of flipping, the cons of flipping bikes, and also I talked to Min on the telephone yesterday. Unfortunately, I was not able to record that phone call, but we'll take a look at some of his insights and we'll also take a look at what it takes to be a good bike flipper. So with that, let's move on with the pros. Probably one of the biggest benefits for flipping bikes is that you make a profit from it, and it's not that much hard work. It's a lot easier than most jobs out there, and you're able to make a profit from it. You don't have a boss, you can work for yourself on your own terms, and you get to mess around with bikes and make money from it, which is a huge plus. Secondly, you could build up an inventory, a collection where you could build up some pretty nice bikes and get to test out some nice parts, know what you like and know what you don't like, without that huge financial risk of buying something new, sinking all your money into it. Instead, because you buy these things really cheap, you're able to collect a lot of good parts. For instance, Min, again, he's really good at flipping bikes. He was able to ride an EAI bare knuckle. He got his NJS ME from it. He's been able to ride on Spinergies, which he thankfully got rid of, head tri-spoke, Sugino 75s, Dura Ace 7710s, and 7600s, along with a lot of other good fixed gear parts. For bike parts, they don't really depreciate in value after they're used, unless they really get damaged. Used is used for the most part, and if you use it for a couple of months or a couple of weeks, it's not going to harm the value of the parts that you have or that you're trying to flip. And once you really get into flipping bikes, you start to find some pretty reliable and consistent sources for getting good deals, and at the same time, you're able to just become part of the fixed gear community and become one of those people that just has the deals and can get you parts if somebody is looking to build up a bike. A third benefit that you get from flipping bikes is that you really develop your business and your people skills. When you're making negotiations, you learn to really pick up on subtle things like body language and tone of voice. And if you want to be a really good flipper, this is something that you'll start to pick up on. And it's not really something that can be taught, but only practiced and developed over time. And a fourth pro for flipping bikes is that you're pretty much in the bike business. And when you're in the bike business, you're getting people on bikes, which is a good thing. If you're on this channel, I hope that you agree with me. And you have the opportunity to keep in contact with customers if they have any issues or problems or questions if they want to get into riding bikes more, which I think is a pretty cool thing. Those are the benefits of flipping bikes. Now let's move on to the cons, because it's not all sunshine, puppies, and rainbows. For me, one of the biggest cons about flipping bikes is that you have to deal with Craigslist. And on Craigslist, a lot of people flake and just don't show up and waste your time. Along with that, there's people that will lowball and try to waste your time that way. And also there's some people that just don't like flippers for whatever reason. Will be like, hey, don't buy from this guy. He sold him the bike and he's making more money than I did. Doesn't really make sense to me, but people do that. An alternative to dealing on Craigslist is to sell your stuff on eBay. But eBay does take 10% of whatever money you make, so you're not going to make as much money, but it is more convenient and you do get more eyeballs looking at your product, so you could sell them pretty easily. Another downside of flipping bikes is that you need to do it at a scale that's big enough where it's sustainable and where you could make enough money for the time that you're putting in. But if you're able to do it on a large enough scale where you're consistently buying bike parts and bikes about every week, then you can see a return on your investment. But because you need to do it at a pretty big scale, you also need a lot of space. But since I live in this apartment, I don't have a lot of space to keep my inventory, and so flipping doesn't really work out for me. Another downside to flipping bikes is that your income can be pretty inconsistent. There aren't always going to be good deals out there. If there are good deals out there, you aren't always going to be able to be the one who snags them, and a lot of times it's just slow, and you're not able to find much product to sell. And because you need a lot of reliable and good sources to make it a worthwhile investment, it is best if you do this in a big city or somewhere that is relatively cycling friendly. It's a lot harder to do it in rural areas where there aren't very many people, let alone riding bikes. So if you live in a big city, it's a lot easier. Another disadvantage is that it can be pretty risky, and there are some shady people that are doing business out there. For example, Min bought a NJS stamped Panasonic frame set with SRAM omniums and Nitto risers for the fine tune of $140. Most of the time, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And it turns out that this bike was stolen and the original owner found it, tracked it down, and took the bike back. There is some risk involved, but you can ask a lot of questions, really read the person and know if they're kind of trustworthy or if they're sketchy. And you could ask a lot of questions about how it was used, how many owners it has, how many miles it has on it. It's questions like that. And usually through those questions, you can really root out whether it's good or bad idea to buy the product. Again, a lot of times if it's too good to be true, it probably is, but it never hurts to ask those questions and find out whether it is actually a steal or whether it's a proverbial steal and get a good deal. So yesterday I gave Min a ring and we talked about flipping for a good 30 minutes, but unfortunately the app that I was using to record that call didn't follow through, and so I'll just kind of summarize what we talked about here. He said that the best thing that he likes about flipping is that he's making money from a hobby, and that hobby ends up making money for itself and fueling itself. And of course, the biggest thing that he hates about flipping are the flakes. In about an average month of part-time flipping, Min would make about $500. A good month would be about $800, and a bad month would be about $400 for profit. And Min said, to be a good flipper, you need to be persistent, you need to be consistent, reliable, and just really be trustworthy. Don't get discouraged if there aren't good deals out there, or if you end up buying stolen goods like he did. Keep on pursuing the good deals and you will make money out of it. Along with that, to be a good flipper, just be reliable, be punctual when you meet up with people, be quick to reply to emails and to texts and to phone calls, and don't really beat around the bush, but be really firm in what you want out of the transaction. And obviously, you need to know the market, know your bike stuff, know what's out there, know who's buying, know who's selling, and just really be part of that fixed gear community in your area. Because if you do, you'll be able to flip bikes and help people build up their projects a lot easier than if you're kind of shady. So be cool and be trustworthy, and don't be shady. Get a haircut or something. So there you have it. Those are the pros and cons of flipping and what it takes to be a good flipper, and not the spatula kind. Are any of you flippers out there, whether that's houses, cars, bicycles, technology, etc.? Let me know in the comments, and what do you like most and what do you like least about flipping bikes? And also, be sure to mention if you have any tips for people that are considering flipping bikes for some side cash. That's right, man, I'm talking to you if you're watching this video. Comment below, help me answer some questions, because you're a much better flipper than I. And with that, if you want to stay updated on the channel and know exactly when uploads are going to be posted, do give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram to stay informed. And if you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome, I'm Zach. And if you'd like to have more fixed gear videos just like this one sent straight to your sub box every week, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. And with that, I'm off to class. Gotta keep it classy or whatever. Oh, those terrible puns, but later.